Hi everyone, I'm Justin Cutroni. Welcome to our second Digital Analytics Fundamentals Hangout. This is our course for the Analytics Academy that we recently launched. Thank you so much for joining us. Today I'm excited to be joined by Avinash Kaushik. Avinash, if you've ever been on the internet, you'll know is the Digital Marketing Evangelist here at Google. And today we're going to talk about material from our initial course, Digital Analytics Fundamentals. We're going to focus a lot on kind of strategies for analytics, but we're also going to jump in and take some specific questions that came up from our students during the course. Before we jump in, I want to let everyone know that we have posted our first Hangout video. That's currently live on our announcements page for the Google Analytics Academy, so you can go check that out. There's also a transcript as well. So first of all, Avinash, thanks so much for joining us.
Of course, happy to.
This is great. So let's talk about some big picture stuff to start with.
Sure.
Analytics is transformative, right? It can make any business better, and I think that's the exciting part about it. But a lot of the time, the problem is with the organization, right? There's no shortage of data, there's no shortage of access to data, but it's the organization that kind of stops change from happening. And I was wondering, how do you help businesses change to really use the data?
I think that the key thing that I found that starts to move organizations in the right direction are sort of two different things. One of the things is to provide a much simpler structure that they can use to figure out what to focus on. As you said, we have more data than God wants anybody to have, right? And that's why I think this obsession we have of constant tagging and updating the tags is serves us not very well. Mm-hmm. So things like the digital marketing measurement model or any other measurement model that you use.
And that's a framework for those that you put out on your blog.
Exactly.
Yep.
And it's this 5-step process you go through, but it's the first 2 rows that are really key, which is to work. The first row, you will work with the most senior person in your company that will talk to you. Sometimes it's hard, right. But the senior most person so that you get directly sort of their perspective of what is the most important thing to them. And I think that we always come to the equation saying, oh, I've got all these reports and I love bounce rate and I love abandonment rate and I love my universal analytics monkey business. Great, but you know what? Maybe at the top, nobody gives anything, right? Yeah. So that's the first row is really important, is what are the big objectives that business is solving for. And then the second row is the one that you'll talk to the next most senior person. So maybe you talk to the CMO and then maybe you talk to the VP, right? Mm-hmm. So those 2 layers. And that says, what are the specific strategies we're executing in order to succeed within the next 6 months? Mm-hmm. So I cut off the time horizon. That's it. Not 900 years from now when dinosaurs will come back or whatever. 6 months. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is you say, if you say 6 months, well, I'm trying to get really great at paid search, and I'm trying to we're really reinvesting and doubling down on email. And we're launching this new structure around videos. Great. Now stop all the other nonsense. Yep. Stop it. And when you log into Google Analytics, you say, okay, I'm going to focus first on making sure that I'm going to give insights for paid search, I'm going to find insights for email, and I'm going to find insights around videos. And then find the best possible metrics on the planet to make sure you identify insights from those 3 things. And then, of course, we have 3 more steps in the measurement model, and people can read about it. But it's those 2 things, figuring out what's important at the highest level, and then what are the specific strategies we're doing and focusing on those. It allows us to create the right custom reports and focus on the right advanced segments and look at the right little slices inside GA. Mm-hmm. And it brings the kind of focus that changes organization. So that's one. And then the other one, I think, is that we often get too caught up in tactical things. Mm. And so we'll get caught up in, here's the new acquisition behavior outcome structure, and let me go bathe in its glory and whatnot. And I think sometimes you have to do things in a much more simple way. So I'll give you an example. I was working with this company. Their marketing budget is in the billions of dollars. So this is not a small company. They have every analytics tool known to mankind. Really, they have everything implemented. And when I met their senior management, I said, so I did my presentation. I said, you suck, and do these things. And and then I asked them, and of course, a part of my presentation is data, because that's kind of what you and I love. And the most senior person, all by himself, he controls around $1.3 billion of marketing spend. And he said to me, I have never seen any Google Analytics data in my life.
Never.
Like not even one, like a little lollipop. No, nothing.
Nothing.
Like he said, once a year I get a brand awareness study. And I said, that doesn't come from Google Analytics. We have a lot. We don't have that one yet. So what I ended up doing is this second solution, which is I said, okay, I'm going to create a dashboard for you, and you should ask for it once a month. Nothing else. Nothing else. And so in the dimension are essentially the macro and micro conversions.
Yep.
I said, okay, the single most important thing you're trying to do here, and then all the micro conversions. And I said, look, this is the thing that makes you money right away. These are the other things. And then on the top, I just essentially put a channel summary, if you will. Google, Bing, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. One page. And I said, look. And then I reordered the macro and micro conversions into 3 clusters. The ones that will add revenue to you in the next 30 days, the ones that will add revenue in the next 90 days, and the ones that will add revenue to the 9 months. They're ordered in that way. That's it. And the amazing thing, it brings such an astonishing focus to him.
Yeah.
What are people doing on my site, and where are they coming from? That's it.
Yeah.
And so he knows where to double down on marketing, where to double down on content. And at his level, he doesn't need to know anything else. Yeah. Everything else is, we take care of it, right?
Yeah.
Now he has one simple view, not a dashboard with a puke of stuff. Just one simple view, and he's reallocating his spend. So 2 things, right? One, how do we use a structure like the measurement model to bring some discipline to our focus every day? Second, how do we create a simple enough view that then we can send to the top of the chain of command that simplifies their life? So the first one is simplify our life. The second one is simplify their life. And that really does transform organizations.
Yeah, I love your second point. It so often within organizations you find that people just don't want to share the data. There are some people that are very territorial, whether they run a certain type of marketing or they just don't want to share that information.
Yeah.
They don't want to give that deeper insights. And I think, if you have those people, that's probably an issue as well, right?
Like the problem is not the data.
No, exactly. It's those people. But the democratization, right? I think that's always been a theme that everyone should have access to this data because better experiences, more customers, better for everybody.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's awesome. And I think you touched on something there that I think is really important to a lot of users. Like Google Analytics and a lot of tools, they have a lot of reports. There's a lot of data. And you mentioned dashboards, you mentioned custom reports, and maybe you could talk a little bit about how you frame those things because they're a critical part in simplifying the distribution and the analysis of the data.
Yes, I agree. So let's do an answer for like a small, medium-sized business.
Absolutely.
That perhaps doesn't get into the custom report advanced, and then we'll come to that second thing because that's what I want everybody to do. But one of the things is like, I was thinking about this yesterday. Is like, people say there is too much data and things like that, and that is true whether you log into our tool or somebody else's. Sometimes I think that as sharers of guidance, we need to be a little bit of bastards and like draw a line. And so I said, all right, so when I go to this thing tomorrow with Justin, I am going to tell people which 4 reports to use and nothing else. And so I don't really made it. We have so many reports. So how do you pick 4?
We have a lot.
And so I said, okay, I'm going to pick 1 report from each section. So if you're a small business, if you're a medium-sized business, if you just started doing analytics, just look at these 4 reports and nothing else, right? And so I picked 1 from each of our folders, if you will.
Yep.
So in the audience section, I really like the engagement report that's in the behavior folder.
Yep.
So I really like that because I think a lot of times we obsess about conversion rates and bounce rates and things like that, but I really want to know how deeply do people engage with us. And the engagement report shows the page depth, and it shows the amount of time people are spending in each session. And I really want us to obsess about that. I want us to obsess about people who spend a lot of time with us and not just people who bounce away. So one single report, right? In the audience section, it's the engagement report because it helps you understand how good your content is in retaining people once they land. That's one of my favorites.
Okay.
In the content section, I really like looking at the landing pages report because as a small, medium-sized business, I want to fix things that will save me money.
Absolutely.
And looking at the bounce rate and per visit value, both of which are in the new redesigned landing page report, I can understand which campaigns might be sending me the wrong audience or which landing pages need optimization. So that's one. Second report, right? Just one.
Yep.
Ignore everything. The third one is in the traffic section. And I really, really love the all traffic sources report.
Yep.
It is the one place where we can see our owned, earned, and paid media in one place. I really love that. I think that, as you alluded to earlier, companies are organized in silos. And there's the search guys and the email guys and the organic girls and the monkeys doing something else, right? There's the whole things. And all traffic sources is the only place in Google Analytics where you can see everything in one place. So that's the third report I like. And the last report is from our conversion section, which is, I actually really like the goals overview report.
Really?
And I know it's like I kept thinking about it, multi-channel funnels were really tempting me.
Super sexy.
But
it's really good.
I'm resisting it. I know. No, you can't tempt me, multi-channel funnels. Now the goals overview, because I think we obsess about the macro conversion too much. So my choice of goals overview is to overcorrect for that and say, you shouldn't just focus on the one night stands, right? The conversions.
Right.
You should say, if 98% of the people are not converting, did we do anything of value for them? And that's a goal overview. So there you go, right? Now there's not a lot of data. Just 4 reports that really comprehensively help you optimize your entire portfolio of things you're trying to do. I mean, this is really cool. So I do think that even if you have been doing analytics for 10 years, you should have the capacity to understand your organization and make these 4 picks. Not the ones I made, but the 4 picks from each folder, because that discipline is the thing that brings focus. So I picked 4 people who are new or just going, but you know what? It took a lot of thought and worry and heartache to give up on my multi-channel funnels or some other thing I love. But that's what being a leader is all about. So that's one. On your other question, I have to tell you, like when I run Market Motive, right?
Yeah.
And we teach people and whatnot, and we do the final dissertation defense where you have to analyze 2 websites, one nonprofit business, one for-profit, and then you have to write a 10-page analysis, blah, blah. I have said to the students that if your final dissertation defense that you do, the 2 that you'll submit, are not entirely based on custom reports and advanced segments, you fail.
Wow.
You fail. I will fail you. because you cannot call yourself an analysis ninja, the term I love and adore, without having this amazing capacity to create the most tightly focused custom reports that work only for your business and nothing else, right?
Yes.
And to be able to be so good at advanced segments. And now with cohort analysis that we've released,
Isn't it
and
awesome?
now, oh my God, I love it, love it, right? Is that it really does help an analysis ninja. The combination, like I always say, Mary, the nirvana in analytics is at the intersection of custom reports and advanced segments.
Totally.
That's where data-gasms lie, right? Is this whole thing about being able to really drive big business things come at the intersection of those things. So I strongly, so like if you log into my account on Google Analytics, you'll see I have this bank of sort of 20 or so custom reports, right? That forms the bedrock. I completely skipped the standard reports. And it's just because I've been, like you probably fewer years than you, but I've been using Google Analytics for a long time. And I can skip the standard reports, just go to my bank. And at the same time, I have a bank of my advanced segments that do a bunch of things. And once you have your bank going, which by the way, now everybody can download from our solutions gallery.
I was just going to mention that, yes.
Where you've uploaded like 9 million of these already. So just download all this stuff that we're creating right from there. But the cool thing is, once you have your bank, it makes analytics so much easier.
So much more powerful.
So much easier.
Yep.
And I can actually go from client to client if I want.
Yep.
Or I can go from one business to another.
Just apply
It's
those.
fine.
Yep.
I have my portfolio of university reports. I work with a bunch of university. I have a portfolio of my pharmaceutical company reports. I've got these things.
E-commerce,
in
publishers.
there.
Yeah,
exactly.
I do the same. Yep.
Exactly. So I think if you're just getting going or you've been doing analytics for a short time, then bring focus to your work by picking one report from each of our 4 folders.
Yep.
It brings discipline, focus, awesomeness. You've been doing analytics for a long time. You should have your bank of custom reports and advanced segments. And then if you want to get a jump start, download everything Justin's uploaded in our solutions gallery, because it's really saves you like 6 months of work, because Justin's already done 6 years of work and put it in there.
Well, everyone's probably scribbling notes like mad. Don't worry, we are going to have this video and we are going to post it, so you can enjoy all the Avinash, and then you can take notes after. And we'll post, like I said, links and this video. One other thing that I love, so first of all, the gallery is great. You can get tons of customizations there. But one of the most underused features that I love is the shortcuts. So you can view your custom report, apply a segment, and then create a shortcut.
Save it,
and it will actually make a link right in the navigation directly to that view of the report.
Yes.
So you don't even have to navigate with the regular nav. You can go just from all of your customizations, one after the other. So easy.
I agree.
It cuts out like 20 clicks. You can have 2 extra cups of coffee.
No, I agree.
It's awesome. Yeah.
I agree. And the cool thing is again, to highlight an underutilized feature, everything is shareable.
Totally.
So if you want your boss, God forbid, to log into Google Analytics, it's dangerous, right? To do that with a lot of care. But if you want to do that, anything that you create is easily shareable. And the latest one that I'm happy about is that we can share our attribution models.
Yes.
Which I was bummed about, because I created this market motive, mind-blowing attribution model, and I couldn't share it in that blog post. But I know that we've just enabled that. So sharing is another nice way where not only can you share it with other peers, but like think about it, just send a few of these shortcuts or these links over to your boss, and they save it. Then they never have to actually go into Google Analytics Deep. They just have those 3 things, just click and boom, you're done.
Yeah, automate the distribution with email. Yeah. Analytics, we're lovers, not haters. We love to share. So, awesome. So let's jump into some questions that we got from our students, and we'll go through as many of these as we can, and then we actually have a few questions that have trickled in from the audience. So we're going to start by talking about another report and some metrics that you really like: frequency and recency.
Yeah.
So Swati from our Google Plus community asks, can someone help me with frequency and recency? I don't get the concept, the count of visits and page views. So why don't you jump off to talk about a little bit why you love those?
So my favorite way of explaining these reports is to use my beloved New York Times as an example. So I love the New York Times. And so as a newspaper, as a publisher of content, or your fantastic blog, Justin, right? So you publish a lot of content. And we want people to come to our site and see our display ads and whatnot, and that's fine, right? That's fine. Or click and buy your books, right? Both of your books, three books, I think now.
Yeah.
3 books, yes, and that's great. That's our macro conversion, and that's fine.
Yep.
But the key way in which we create value for your blog is not that you come one time and go away, but that you keep coming back again and again and again and again and again. So. What frequency measures is during a given time period, say a month, how many times did one person come to the site?
Right.
So you write, let's say, once a week. Well, we want everybody to come at least 4 times a month, right? Because it's once a week.
Yep.
And then so that's what frequency measures. So figure out how frequently you update content or your products or services, and really, do people come that frequently or not? Maybe you publish less or more or things like that. Then recency is the gap between those 2 visits.
Right.
That's it. So frequency is how often did they come, and recency is the gap between two visits. So for my beloved New York Times, we want a frequency of at least daily. And during the day, if they come, we want the recency to be, let's say, every 6 hours. Because our website is updated every 6 minutes. So at least more times.
All that news, right?
Right. Exactly. So it just helps you understand how frequently does the same person come and what is the gap between each visit. And it really helps you understand, as a creator of content, is the schedule that you're publishing, are your updates sufficient to first attract the person and get them to come back repeatedly?
Yeah, and I think you just made a really important point. How does the behavior match up with what your expectation and your plan is, right? That's the whole point, is to compare those two, right? Add that context to the data, and then all of a sudden it instantly becomes actionable. Because if the behavior doesn't match up with what you're planning, you're not doing something right. And you need to make a change.
Exactly.
That's what analysis is, right? And that's that's the most important part. And there's also some similar reports in the multi-channel funnels with what we have, the path length and the time lag.
Yes,
those are, I don't know if you want to mention those, but those are
absolutely
critical.
I love actually from a goals or conversion perspective, either one of those two things. My favorite of the lot are the time lag and path length reports, because they focus on a person. And what the time lag shows is from the first time that a person was exposed to your website, mobile, desktop, anything, to the time that they delivered a conversion. How many days, weeks passed between those two. And the path length are the number of times they had to visit. So one is days, one is visits. And to me, this is a really fabulous way to figure out how to do some really cool things. So as a good example, we were working with an airline company, and we realized that for a lot of the vacations that they offer, the time lag tended to be roughly around 3 weeks. And so what we ended up doing is, for AdWords campaigns and our social campaigns, we changed the landing page. Rather than have a big, gigantic buy now button, we made the buy now button smaller, and we added another bigger button that says search and save. So because we knew that they're not going to buy right away, so we changed the emphasis, because from the time lag report, we changed the emphasis. So the button is now search for your favorite vacation and save it. Save it,
and that'll bring
because
it back.
that's why we're gonna and we'll remember you. And under the save button, when they were saving, we added a line that said, check this box if you want us to email you if the price goes down by X%.
Awesome.
And really cool. So now what we did is we got the insight from the time lag report. We optimized our landing pages, but also used the data in the time lag report to enhance our website so we can have this relationship with you. We got a micro conversion, and also we got permission to email them. It's really cool. And all of it came from understanding the time lag. It's like, hey, if the customer wants to go at a certain pace, we'll change ourselves to match that pace. So we don't appear overeager or over-aggressive when the customer doesn't want that at all.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Again, building to the behavior, right? Building to the customer. It's total sense. So speaking of customers, we had a question here about custom dimensions in Google Analytics. And for those of you that haven't used custom dimensions, this is a way to get data that's not normally in Google Analytics, custom information, into the product. And let's keep this kind of conceptual. You should check our developer docs or work with an experienced developer to implement them. But maybe you could tell us a little bit about some of the custom data that you like to see in analytics when you're doing analysis.
I'll give you a simple example, and then you can share as well, Justin. But one of the challenges I faced in my last company is that this is so subtle, right? And this goes to management reporting. Is that our company only had around 8 products that we sold. But the 8 product fell into 2 groups. Let's say small business and big business. Let's just say that, right? But on the website, we sold roughly 2,000 SKUs of product IDs, right? And so when we would report from Google Analytics, it would report us the 2,000 product IDs because that's what we're selling. But that report was useless to the senior management because they can only wrap their head around the fact that we sell 8 things. And some of this is just complexity of big businesses. That's kind of how they work. So one of the things I always wanted to get into Google Analytics is this mapping. Now I had the mapping in an Excel spreadsheet lying around that said these 2,000 SKUs map into these 16 groups, which map into the 8 products, which map into these 2 divisions of the company.
Wow.
So it's all in Excel, right?
A lot of work.
But we just couldn't report it. I just said, take all the transactions out of GA and kill me. Anyway. So this is a practical use of dimension and widening, is that now we have the capacity to go in and upload some of this data into GA so that we can use Google Analytics to report our efforts much more efficiently. And we can let Google Analytics allow us to save our time, at the same time make our reports more meaningful for our senior management. And so that's just one example of many that people will be able to do once they start to leverage dimension and widening. The thing that I think you were absolutely right to caution that you should get help from a senior developer or one of our wonderful Google Analytics authorized consultants. No, they're called something else now.
Certified partners.
Certified partners. Sorry, we keep changing their names. But anyway.
But they're still wonderful, even though they have a different name. Absolutely wonderful.
I even have a URL, bit.ly/GAAC, right? I have them down to a short link.
They're awesome.
You should go there, and they will be able to help you figure out what you should be doing. But when you go to them, like a lot of times we release features, and it ends up becoming a data hunt for people. I don't want you to go that route. What I want you to do is go to one of our GACPs. Every one of them is really so smart. And tell them the challenges and problems you're having. Don't tell them, can you help me use dimensional widening? So you know what? Who cares?
Yeah.
Tell them what your problems are. And then they'll be able to say, oh, in this one case, you should use this or that, right? And we can, especially with Universal, we can do so many things. But I want you to take your problems to them rather than saying, let me figure out a magic monkey way of using this new thing Google Analytics just released.
Yeah, no, I love that analogy. Like, we want to solve this problem. What's the best way to use the product? And I think that's one of the things that our partners do so well is those mappings. Some of the ways that I've used custom dimensions in the past is for publishers, right? Same you talked about. Publishers, they might want to see content by author, content by year, content by category, right? And those are all dimensions of data that aren't in analytics normally. So that's a great uses. And then the nice thing about custom dimensions is you can build them into your own custom report or dashboard, right? So now all of a sudden, those little pieces of data are enabling everything that you've talked about, right? And enabling the better reporting and the once a month for the CMO or whatever. So it's really useful. I've seen some really sophisticated uses for lead generation websites where people will actually insert like a lead score into a custom dimension. So they can do awesome segmentation based on really high value leads versus kind of mediocre leads and look at things like where do they come from? How often? Do all that recency and frequency analysis. So it's pretty darn awesome. So so custom dimensions, really useful feature.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me pimp something here while you remind me, Justin.
Yes.
But one of the things that I'm heartbroken about is that not enough people are using cost data upload.
Yes.
I'm going to get off my high horse
Go ahead.
under 60 seconds.
That's fine.
But I think that at the moment in Google Analytics, you can compute revenue, or you can compute revenue less cost for AdWords. Or you can do this for your display campaigns, as an example.
Yep.
But email marketing costs you money, and social marketing costs you money. Bing paid search costs you money.
Absolutely.
Everything you do costs you money. So I am a passionate believer that before you do dimension and widening, before you do universal analytics, high up on your to-do list should be to figure out how to enable cost data upload, because revenue by itself doesn't give you a clean view of success. Revenue less cost gives you a lot better view of success. Just go to our help center, type in cost upload into GA, and you'll find some amazing articles. But let me just pimp that for a second, because I really do think that you could have made $100 on something in a particular campaign, but if it cost you $105, you're losing money. And at the moment, you don't know that. And I'm a big fan of cost data upload because I want you to know that. I want you to know if you're losing money. And AdWords costs you money, display ad costs you money, but so does everything else. So use cost data upload if you want to be a ninja.
Yeah, so that was actually a great sermon. No, I agree. I mean, like, being able to see what your return is on an ad spend is absolutely critical. And so that actually transitions nicely into, we had a couple of questions about AdWords. And before we get into a specific, we have a good technical question here. But one of the things that I love about analytics and Google Analytics is the tight integration with the other platforms here, Google and AdWords. And, it's really actionable, right? There's instant actionability in that data. And so I don't know if maybe you want to tell us a couple of your favorite ways of taking action, because you have all of your analytics data and your AdWords data right there in one place.
Yes. No, I'll give you 2 examples. I have so many.
I'm sure you do. Yeah. That's why this is easy.
I know. By the way, this is a sign of you being an analysis ninja. Is every time somebody asks you a question, you have 5 examples. You have 5.
Totally.
You're doing too much work, but it's a good thing. Anyway, two great examples. One of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that when you bid on AdWords, let's say we bid on the keyword Justin Cutroni, right? And so we'll go into AdWords with Justin Cutroni, and we're going to spend like $16 million per month with AdWords.
Yeah, and that's just about how much people are spending right now. That's pretty close. You're right.
But the interesting, and then of course the data comes to Google Analytics. We can see our bounce rates, conversion, blah, 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 blah. But the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that when AdWords is taking our money and our keyword, it's matching against a search user query.
Right.
And what they do, so people don't type in Justin Cutroni, well, some, but they'll say Justin Cutroni books. Why does Justin Cutroni look so pretty, right? Or some rare bad guys will say Justin Cutroni sucks.
And I see that in my head.
And the interesting thing is, these are all the things people are typing into google.com.
Mm-hmm.
But your AdWords ads that are getting executed are still Justin Cutroni.
Right.
And if you only look at your standard reports inside Google Analytics, it just says Justin Cutroni. Mm-hmm. But what we want to know are all of those other things people are typing in. Because that gives us really great insight about where our ads are matching. Mm-hmm. And then should we optimize our landing pages, right?
Exactly.
So if it's going to be, why is Justin Cutroni so pretty? Like, I know that. Now the landing page has to have a big photo of you, right?
Totally.
So because Google Analytics and AdWords are integrated, one of my favorite reports to look at is the match search query. Mm-hmm. And I do a custom report because I love custom reports.
And you're a ninja.
Yes. and so I love to look at all my metrics, the same metrics, but say, I want to know the matched search query. So I can pick my top ad groups, I can pick my top keywords, and look at the matched search query and use that to optimize landing page. Also to understand my customers better. I can understand them only X% if I just looked at Justin Cutroni.
Right.
But by looking at all the matched search queries, it allows me to understand what are they thinking. I can optimize my landing pages, I can optimize my prices, my offers. I can change my conversion process, right? So that's one example of where this really comes together. And in a little while back, I think I had posted like 3 of my favorite custom reports from paid search. And all of them take advantage of the fact that this data is inside GA, right?
Yeah.
Second example of having this data is very recent. And I was just telling Bill how much I love him for this, is that in the multi-channel funnels report, we're back to multi-channel funnels. Sexy, this thing is sexy.
It is anyway. It is good. It's an awesome report.
It's so awesome. But one of the things when you do attribution modeling inside MCF is that you could only see the conversions when you do attribution modeling.
Right.
But the cool thing is now in that report, in addition to the conversions for the different models, so last click or the mind-blowing model I have or the time decay, whatever you have, you could only see conversions, but now you see CPA.
Right. Cost per
So not only can you see you got 100,000 conversions, but you can see the cost per click under the last click attribution is $98 for AdWords. And then when you apply the mind-blowing model, which is a much better way to attribute than last click, it'll say, oh, actually, it's actually only $36 CPA. Now, the only reason you can have CPA is because the cost data comes from AdWords into GA. And the screenshot I had posted on the blog last month also then had the same CPA for display, where I was getting all the cost data to come through from DoubleClick over into GA. So not only can I optimize for my conversions, but I can optimize for my CPA. Because what if display is driving 250,000 conversion? That looks great compared to 100,000 of paid search, but the CPA was $240 each. Oh my goodness. Now the only reason, cost data, right? Taking us back to cost data.
Exactly, full circle.
And by the way, I uploaded my email cost data into my campaign. Now in multi-channel funnels, I can see CPA. So the CPA that you see in multi-channel funnels is an example, Justin, of what you were saying, of having this data in one place. The match search query is another example of bringing AdWords data that's not normally inside Google Analytics or Site Catalyst or Web Trends or whatever, but having it in there in your standard tool and being able to understand user intent. So those are two of my favorite examples.
Yeah, those are awesome. And one of the questions that we actually had were some from Koa and Linda. They asked in our student forum, why do I see not set in my AdWords reports? And a lot of times, the reason why this has a problem with the linking of the accounts.
That's right.
And
yeah.
we're going to post some help center articles. But again, if you don't have the accounts linked the right way, then you might see not set in your reports, or you might be missing the cost metrics.
Yes.
But we'll post a link to some specific solutions for that.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground, and I want to actually move on to a subject that a bunch of people have been asking about recently, and this is universal analytics. Okay? And I know you certainly have some opinions on this, as do I. I'm actually a big fan, but so for those of you that don't know, Google Analytics is evolving, right? The next generation is called universal analytics, and it's basically an opening up of the platform, right? So it can be used on any type of digital device, whether it's a smartphone, a website, a kiosk, whatever you have. And so a lot of people are asking, when should I move to universal analytics? And should I move now? And I know we've had this conversation in the past.
Yeah. No, I am very excited about universal analytics. I think that if you follow my blog, you'll see that very often I have said, look, don't take on these big, gigantic boondoggles of data warehousing projects that take 900 years and become irrelevant in 9 days. And pull all kinds of data and I'm very frustrated about that. So I've always said to people, look, take the data you need from GA, aggregate it, put it over there, the bare minimum you need so you can be very agile. Now the cool thing that universal analytics enables is it enables the reverse of this ladder philosophy, which says, I've got all my data in GA. Are there key bits? Remember, not everything written in the Bible, right? Just the key bits that I can pick up and I can send into Google Analytics so I can be smarter. I'm a very big fan of that before for the whole data warehousing route. I'm a very big fan of it now for the exact same reason, right? Is that you just need some key bits of data. And universal analytics allows you to do that. So let's answer the question about when to move. So I use Google Analytics a lot across a lot of my accounts. And I am probably going to move to universal analytics in like a few months. Because at the moment, I think that the bleeding edge people who don't like getting hurt, like Justin, I'm sending them off to fight the fight.
Exactly.
Like, you bleed, you go over there.
You feel the pain.
And come back from the front lines.
Tell me how bad it was.
Yes. And give me the solutions, right? So I think at the moment, all our GACPs are doing incredible work with universal analytics. You're doing amazing work. Lots of people are doing amazing work. So normal people like me, it's like let's wait to learn these from these really cool people who are doing these really cool things that we can implement right away, and then we can benefit from them. So that's what I see. Also, I believe that at the moment, I don't think we at Google are officially saying you should remove your current tag and put the new analytics.js tag. We're not saying that, I believe, so far. So whenever on our blog post, we'll probably write a blog post that says, hey, everybody, let's move. And when you see that, that's another signal. To me, that's another signal that, hey, the war, the canaries we sent out, a bunch of them came back.
Exactly.
Let's all, the rest of us go, right?
Yeah, and so to kind of follow up what Avinash said, everyone should take a look at universal analytics, right? Because it does enable a lot of really cool stuff like cross-device tracking and understanding behavior across multiple platforms, which is really, really important. And now's the time to start to understand, well, how might the new technology shift your strategy potentially, right? What did you want to measure that you haven't been able to measure? Maybe you can do that in the future. So start looking at that. I want to let everyone know that we are working on an automatic upgrade path, right? So like Avinash said, so you'll be able to feel from us, we'll be able to give you a signal, we'll be able to put out a blog post and say, all right, we have a way for you to upgrade easily. That means that all of your historical data will be transitioned over,
of course,
and it will be, for the most part, fairly easy. So stick with us, be patient. Now is the planning linking phase, and pretty soon we'll have the actual switching phase ready for you guys to implement.
And let me underline, I think that the first thing most likely that I will enable myself, and I think most people will probably do the first thing in terms of universal analytics, is probably the cross-device tracking.
Yes. Yep.
I think it is a big problem.
Yep.
And I think that might be the first thing we'll do.
That's a good one.
But to answer your question, I think that if you're trying to figure out should you jump into universal analytics, like here's your path. Do you have your key standard reports that you are using to drive your business? The 4 that I mentioned as an example, they were mine, right? Have you then moved? Are you leveraging custom reports? That's the next level up. Then the next level up is, do you have goals defined in addition to your macro conversion? That's the next one. Are you using advanced segmentation, right? Do you have relevant dashboards? To me, that's the ladder. Once you get to the top of this ladder and you have your digital marketing measurement model driving your dashboards, you're ready to go to universal analytics. There you go.
We've come full circle. So that's actually a perfect spot. We're just about out of time. So I want to, first of all, thank you so much. We really appreciate this. I've got a few announcements for everyone that's watching. The course is rapidly coming to an end, and I'd like to thank a bunch of people that have worked so hard on this, specifically our teaching assistants. And if we can switch to a quick slide here. We've been very lucky to have a very engaged community throughout this course on both Google+, and we've had a Google group. But we've had a great bunch of teaching assistants that have really, really helped us out a lot. So I want to thank all of them personally for investing a lot of time and answering a lot of student questions. So as I mentioned, the course is going to end October 30th, and here's what that means. When October 30th hits, the support group and our Google Plus community will go away, but the content will still be there. You'll be able to watch me as much as you want 24/7 and learn about analytics. So that's not going to go away. We want you to be able to access this material or refer to coworkers or to your boss to help them understand why analytics is so important. And I also want to stress that Analytics Academy is our platform, right? Digital Analytics Fundamentals, this is just our first course. We're actually working on a lot of content right now. We've got courses like a course on Universal Analytics that we're putting together, and we hope to have that out soon. So stay tuned. We also maybe might have a small little surprise event this quarter for you guys in order to keep you interested. So just wanted to again say thank you very much to Avinash. Thank you to all the students. Thank you to the TAs. Thank you to the entire community. And we'll see you again soon. Take care.